Hello everybody, my name is Zayan, better known as the King Bahamut or just Bahamut, and welcome to Fire Emblem Black Dragon Beginnings. This is a brand new ROM hack of Fire Emblem 8 The Sacred Stones that I have made. It is a prequel, as the title suggests, to Black Dragon, the first ROM hack I ever made. This basically is a project that is meant to take everything I learned while making Darius the Conqueror and Black Dragon and try and really refine my personal formula for ROM hack making as down to the best it can be, as far as I'm concerned. And so far, I think it's been turning out pretty well, but I wanted to come here and show it off just so you guys could see what's going on. This is just a quick showcase that will show off the first few chapters, and I decided to do a live commentary reaction, sort of let's play sort of thing over it, just for funsies. You can tell my commentary is a little bit not super refined, but hey, you live and you learn. So, without further ado, let us get started. I'm going to be playing on normal mode. I have tested out hard difficulty, and it is a pretty comfortable ride. If anything, these first few maps are actually pretty easy, to be honest, compared to some of the... Which, I mean, it's the early game, so obviously they're supposed to be a little bit easier, but, considering some of Darius the Conqueror's early maps were not the easiest, that is quite a thing. But yes, hard mode is perfectly playable. It's tested, it's not like Darius the Conqueror where I didn't bother testing it and it was borderline unplayable. I'm rambling at this point. Why do you care about any of this? Let's just get started on normal difficulty. First chapter, Prelude, Wildheart. Hey, this guy looks familiar. Greetings and salutations, players. Yes, 'tis I, the obligatory BlazingKnight cameo, here to welcome you all to my buddy Zane's new ROM hack. Sorry to say I'm not a playable unit this time around. Motherfucker still hasn't paid me my residuals for my previous cameos, so I'm on strike from participating in combat until he coughs up the money. But never mind that. Let me lay down a few quick things before we get started here. As the title implies, this hack is a prequel to the story of Bahamut's first hack, Black Dragon. It also takes place in the same shared universe as Darius the Conqueror, another hack he made. Now, playing either of those hacks is not necessary to follow along with the story of this game. However, there will be some occasional references to those stories here and there. Now, if you are familiar with Bahamut's other work, then you know he likes to write his stories for mature audiences. And this hack is no different, in case you couldn't tell by me dropping an F-bomb earlier. Expect plenty of foul language, references to alcohol and sex, and some talk of gore here and there. Oh, and it should also be said, like with the previous two hack stories, we will be touching on some of the uglier aspects of medieval warfare. That means essay and graphic descriptions of brutal forms of torture and execution. I will pop up on the chapters where these topics are most prominent to let you know when the heavy stuff shows up. And please do heed these trigger warnings. Some of you were not honest about how much the dark stuff bothered you when playing Darius, and it was really annoying to read comments from those people. You know who you are. But I digress. One last thing. You can speed up map animations by holding A, and speed up battle animations by holding the L button. I'm told Bahamut couldn't find a way to integrate that little mechanic into the tutorials. But with that, I think I've rambled on long enough. And so, without further ado, we hope that you will enjoy Black Dragon Beginnings. Have fun! Ku? What is it, boy? Have you caught the scent of something? Oi, settle down, you! And stop tugging at my cloak before you tear it! Woof! 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 My god, I've never seen you this agitated before. But it seems you want for me to follow you. Is that it? Strange. But he's not one to get in a tizzy like this without good reason. I'd best go and see what the matter is. I've got a feeling this is important. Something at the gates of the monastery? There's nothing out of the ordinary here as far as I can see. Wait just a moment. I can sense the presence of something approaching us. It's coming from the nearby forest. There! I got sight of some movement. Something is running towards the monastery. What in the world? Who are you? Eh? Forgive me for startling at your approach, my good man. 'Twas impossible to judge whether you were friend or foe at a distance. You seem to be out of breath, stranger. Is someone chasing after you? Hmm? Kuhulan! Stop growling at once! This stranger has shown no sign that he means us any harm. We should not treat him with such... Huh? But if it's not the stranger that has him so afraid, then what could... Wait, what are those shapes coming from out of the forest? Ah! What the devil? What in God's name is happening here? Unless my eyes are playing a trick on me, these are the corpses of dead men. Yet they stand upright and walk as though they'd never passed from this world. What blasphemy has brought about this aberration? He must have been fleeing from these monsters. I cannot blame him. I can sense the mana from their bodies. But where there ought to be a soul, I feel nothing. Only an empty void. These creatures should not exist in this world. They are perversions of the natural order. Aroof! Aroof! Kuhulan, run back to the Abbey and find Father Torin. I'll do what I can to slow the advance of these abominations. Take my hand, stranger. I'll lead us to safety. Oh, for the love of all the times for this useless old gate to stick fast and refuse to close. Damn it all, there's no time for this. At this pace, they'll be inside the monastery walls before we can... What is it, stranger? Oh, a spear and a bow as well? How did I not notice sooner that you were armed? Do you mean to say that you wish to help me battle these wretched creatures? Mm-hmm. God bless you, stranger. My skill with combat magics is passable, but I'm hardly an expert. Not to mention, I'm not exactly armored. Having another man to watch my back is something I'd be most grateful for. But please do take care not to put yourself in harm's way for my sake. Here they come. Quickly, stranger. You take point while I assist you from the rear with spells. Alright, and it's gameplay time. So yeah, we've got 5 monsters here, and the audio is already glitching out. That's one thing with MGBA. I use MGBA because, at least on this computer that I'm recording on, it has better pixel quality, better frame rate, and better audio quality. But it also has this weird habit of, like, making the certain sound effects in this game glitch out. I have no idea what's going on. Anyways, we have 2 units here. These are the 2 lords of our hack. First is Altair, a young acolyte of the faith who travels Rodan helping those in need. He's a monk, a young acolyte of the faith of the Lightbringer, wields sacred light. Technically, he's a lord and not an actual monk in the sense of Fire Emblem, because I have never liked the monk class, which is weird to say because in both of the appearances, the monks you get in the actual GBA games are pretty good units, but I don't know, I just don't like the class. Anyways, Altair, he comes with Smite, which is his personal weapon. It's basically just a rapier tome, lethal to cavalry/armor. And he comes with an Ignis, aka the Fire Tome. Lethal to the undead. This is a brand new effect that I added to the Fire Tome and also the Fire Tome, is that they deal effective damage to certain kinds of monsters. Anything that would normally be weak to fire, like, you know, the bales, the various corpses and whites, skeletons and stuff like that. These are Altair's weapon ranks. These are his base stats and his growth rates. His 0% strength. All of the magic classes have a 0% strength growth and no capacity to gain any magic. 60% magic, 60% skill, 55 speed, 55 luck, 30 defense, 50 res, and 75 HP. And his skills, every character has a personal skill that they learn, a class skill, and then usually one, sometimes maybe two learn skills that they'll learn at level 10 in each class. I had reduced the amount of skills people get from 2 to 1. That was a bit of a thing in Darius the Conqueror, was skill bloat, even though I tried to pace out when units got skills. There was a little bit of skill bloat. So anyways, Altair's personal skill is Charisma. Grants plus 10 hit and avoid to all allies within 3 tiles. Basic Lord skill. Supply, meaning that he can use the convoy. And Exorcism, which is basically the Slayer skill. It causes all of his weapons to deal effective damage to monsters, including this Ignis Tome. So its effect of being effective against undead is actually kind of pointless. In a sense, but I mean, he's still... Altair, I would say, is probably the better of the two units, at least starting out. But speaking of which, the other lord we get is Zayan, a young man who grew up in the wilderness, kind and compassionate. And he is a Wildheart, a warrior who learned to hunt in the wilderness using spear and bows. Zayan is essentially Ephraim if he traded his very high base stats for the ability to wield bows. Which is not that bad of a trade-off, it turns out. His personal weapon is the Partisan, which is basically just the Reckon Leaf. Lethal to cavalry and armor. And he comes with an oak bow. Bows are back from Darius the Conqueror. If you played that hack, you know that in that hack, I had bows be basically how they were in Project Ember, as in every bow was a longbow, except for the longbow, which was a siege weapon. I changed it back to vanilla, for the most part. As much as I love Project Ember's bows, there was a commenter who made a good point that if every bow is a longbow, it does kind of cause bows to become centralized around mounted units that have them, which... I don't know how much I fully agree with that, but it definitely is a thing to consider. So, for this hack, they're going back to 2 range, for the most part. There are a couple of exceptions. These are his weapon ranks, these are his base stats, and these are his growths. 60 magic, 60 strength, 35 magic, 45 skill, 55 speed, 40 luck, 45 defense, and 30 res. And 80 HP. And his personal skill is Charm. He also has Supply. He doesn't have a learned skill right out the gate, unlike Altair. But he will learn one at level 10, whenever that shows up. Anyways, our enemies for this map are monsters, aka Hellspawn, a grotesque manifestation of the darkness within the human soul. Revenant, decaying corpses brought to life and made monstrous through fell magic. You may be wondering why I'm checking all of these, enemy descriptions. That's because I changed a lot of them. White, skeletal soldiers given life through fell magic. They wield many weapons. And then we have the boss over here, which is a ghoul, a golem of flesh hewn together through evil magic, possessing high strength. Now, most of these monsters are really not anything serious, any sort of serious threat to us, so we might as well just bop them. Now, the backgrounds on these battle screens, you may notice, look kind of similar to The Last Promise, if you happen to have played that hack. I really always loved how The Last Promise handled the battle screen, how it was just, you know, a big old background with no battle platforms or anything like that. I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to try it out for myself. And you know what? It's actually not that hard to implement. So yeah, this is a pretty basic map. It's really just kind of sit in front of the gate for a turn and let the monsters run into your units for a little bit. I have been trying to step up my level design a little bit for this hack, because I'll be honest, the level design of Darius the Conqueror was probably the weakest point of that hack. Honestly, Black Dragon's level design was even worse in some cases. But yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit better with how I space out enemies so that they're not all ganging up on the player at once. That was a big problem with Darius the Conqueror's levels. I will promise I will stop comparing this hack to my previous works at some point. Now, as stated, if you hold the L button, you can speed through battles. It also speeds up the EXP gain and the level up stat gain screen, if you feel so inclined. So it is a very handy feature. These monsters don't have the best hit rates. Take heart, stranger. There's only one more left. And, alright, we've only got one more left. I guess I should mention, every boss in this hack has a personal skill of their own. They also have class skills. So, in Darius the Conqueror, I just said I would stop comparing my previous work to this. In Darius the Conqueror, a lot of monsters had seal skills and skills that increased their hit rates. I decided to walk back on that again for this project. For the most part, it just kind of made them no goddamn fun to fight in a lot of cases, so I'm trying to be a little bit better. So these Revenants and this Ghoul have Liquid Ooze instead, which will not be super important for right now. It'll matter once you get a unit that actually can use the Nosferatu Tome, but we're not there yet. And they also have Intimidate, which does give them a little bit more hit rate against you. And this boss has a personal skill. Enemy commanders in this hack will have personal skills always. This one has Tower Shield, gains 6 defense against attacks that's received at range, since he can't attack at range. He also drops an Iron Lance for Zayan to use. So anyways, let's get this over here. And then Altair, you can sit on your duff and give Zayan a nice charisma boost. I love this battle animation, by the way. The Ghoul, I think it's called the Gore, but it's by Alexplode, who does a lot of really great monster animations in the Fire Emblem hacking community. This was always one of my favorites. Okay, so Zayan does 9 damage, so Altair is going to need to use his Smite Tome in order to put this guy in range. Be gone, foul beast! Return to the darkness from whence you came! We also have custom magic animations, which admittedly are kind of slow-moving. Yeah, but that Smite animation was by B&Z. Yeah. I once again limited myself kind of to a lot of just what's available on the resource repo, because I don't exactly have the means to get any sort of like super extravagant custom animations. So, you know, you have stuff like Altair just being Lucius from Fire Emblem 7 holding a book, or Zayan being a Spice of Rook, or this portrait was actually made by Parahija, the creator of Drums of War, which is a hack that I kind of want to play, but I've also like tested it, and I'm not really sure it's entirely up my alley. But that's not the point. The point is, we have a boss to slay. And as usual, we have the critical hit finish that comes with the skill systems patch. Pretty basic stuff. This is not a terribly complicated level. There's not exactly that much to say about it. Zayan gets HP strength, and I forgot what the other stat was already. But that's it. The monsters have all been slain. There don't appear to be any more lying in wait in the woods. Thank the Lord for that. This was a stressful ordeal, to say the least. Oh, pardon me for my rudeness, stranger. I quite nearly forgot to thank you for your assistance in that skirmish. My name is Altair. May I ask you for your name, stranger? You don't seem like you understand one word of what I'm saying. Can you not speak the common tongue? Your clothes are absolutely filthy. But no, those are not made from any fabrics I'd recognize. Are these animal pelts? Indeed, and freshly skinned pelts at that. Fascinating. My, you're a jumpy one. But your agility and reflexes are impressive. You handled your weapons quite skillfully. Doubtless you have some skill as a hunter to have caught all these beasts and skinned them. Given the fact you came running from the forest, and your limited ability to comprehend language, could it be that you are some feral man born and raised in the wild beyond the boundaries of civilization?
Altair, there you are!
I apologize profusely for my attempts at British accent. Oh, Mary! Father Torin!
Are you injured, brother? Ku came running to us in a panic, acting as if you were in danger.
We heard the sounds of shouting and spells flying as if a battle took place. Are you certain all is well? I'll explain the details later. But for now, all is well enough. This fine fellow made certain of that. Oh? And who might this chap be? If he has a name, he will not divulge it to me. He seems to have a limited grasp of the common tongue. Pretty. She is pretty.
Oh my! Are you speaking about me, good stranger?
There's only one she standing in our midst, Mary. I believe our mystery stranger is smitten. Not that I blame him.
My, you are awfully kind, stranger.
So you can speak the common tongue. Why only now do you choose to say something? Calm yourself, Altair. All these questions will only confuse the lad. Let me try something. L'enfant gros tu? Connais l'enfant comme mieux? Aye, brother. Gracias, brother. Father? Was that Keltari you were speaking just now? He spoke it perfectly and with nary an accent. Could he be... A full-blooded Keltar? It seems to me that he is. Hard to tell how long this one has been on his own in the wilderness. But I'm impressed he was able to survive as long as he did on his own. 'Twould seem the legends of the Keltar having an affinity for the natural world may hold some truth. Real flesh and blood Keltar? I'd thought they'd nearly gone extinct across Roden, yet here one is, standing right in front of me. This is a wonderful discovery. Think of what we can learn of the history of the Keltar from this one. Calm yourself, Altair. Let us not overwhelm the man with questions all at once. I suspect he has been through much today. Fortunately for him, the doors of Adam's Abbey are open to all lost souls in need of shelter. We have food enough that we can afford to feed one more hungry mouth tonight. We can grant him that much, along with a warm bath and a bed to lay his weary head for the evening. Yes, of course. I'll draw a tub of water from the well and have it heated at once. You tell Mary and the rest of the nuns to get some food prepared.
And the way he runs, impulsive as ever. He's like a puppy with a new bone, that brother of mine.
Allow him his excitement, Mary. The Keltar have not been seen in Mercia since ancient times. The stranger's presence is a miracle. But for now, this one is simply a humble vagabond looking for a place to rest this evening. And we shall grant him that place of respite for as long as he would require it. I will ensure our supper is ready and waiting by the time his bath is done. In the meantime, you ought to show him inside. He seems fond of you.
Yes, Father Torin. Right this way, kind stranger. I'll show you around the abbey so you don't go getting lost. Oh, have you something to tell me?
Zayan.
Zayan? Is that your name?
Yes, Zayan.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Zayan. My name is Mary.
Mary. Mary is pretty.
Oh, stop! You'll make me blush. Though you are a handsome man yourself. Oh, but listen to me prattle. Come, let's go inside before it grows dark.
And so begins a friendship that will change the course of history for the continent of Rodan. The story of a saint and a savior. This is the story of Black Dragon Beginnings. I did not mean to speed through that so fast. Caliente. Take a quick sip. Quick sip of water. I am bad at this. This is why I stopped doing Let's Plays of other games, is because my commentary was so shit. That took about almost a half hour. But I was planning on going ahead and just going to the next chapter anyways, just to give you guys your money's worth. Chapter 1, Missionaries. That's another thing about this hack, is that I've been trying to cut back on the mucho texto that plagued some of Darius the Conqueror's story scenes. Can't say I'll completely avoid it, but at least starting out I'll try to be a little bit more concise with the storytelling. What a lovely morning. The sun is shining, the air is fresh and crisp. It's days like these that make me grateful to be alive. You seem cheerful this morning, Altair. As well I should be. Is this not the most perfect weather for a day of doing the Lord's work? It's a mite bit cold for my liking, but to each their own, I suppose. You'll warm up once we find our way indoors. Besides, winter will be over and done with soon enough. I suspect we're only a moon's turn or two from the day the snow melts for good. A pity that, if you ask me. There's nothing quite so beautiful as a blanket of fresh fallen snow.
It'd be much more pleasant to look at if a certain someone hadn't left me behind to trudge through half a mile of it on foot.
Oh, Mary! Forgive me, sister, I'd not noticed that you were lagging behind.
Altair, you ass! Had Victor not been there to let me ride in the saddle with him, I might well have lost my way to town. How could you abandon your own sister to freeze to death in this beastly cold?
If you're cold, then here, take my scarf, Mary. We can't have you catching a chill out here.
Oh, thank you graciously, Zayan. It does my heart good to know at least one man here knows how a lady ought to be treated.
Oh, come now, Mary. It can't be so cold that you'd be getting frostbite in spite of all those layers you have on. If I may be so bold, young Master Altair, His Holiness did say that half the reason he sent you on this pilgrimage was so you might learn to control your impulsiveness. Leaving Lady Mary behind as you did strikes me as proof that you ought to learn your lesson. Would you not agree? Good heavens, not you too, Victor! What matters is that we reached the village unmolested. I see that as cause enough to be grateful, given how dangerous the roads have become as of late. True enough. I'm surprised this village shows no signs of bandit activity, with how infamous this region of Marseille is for brigand clans. A fact we thank the Lord of Light for every day. A pity it's because our village has so little worth stealing to begin with. Ah, you must be the village elderman. I'm Altair, an acolyte of the faith from Adam's Abbey. I presume Father Torrens sent a message notifying you of our coming? Aye, we're ever grateful to His Holiness for sending someone all this way to treat our sick for no charge. Ours is a poor community, and we've not the coin to afford most healers and apothecaries. Winter always seems to be the time when illness runs rampant through town. Excuse me, I'm burping, because I had dinner not too long ago. You've nothing to worry about. The Lord of Light decrees his faithful must show those who have not the means to offer them reward for their services the most care and love. That's an awkward sentence. I may need to rephrase that in future updates. And that is precisely what I plan to do for you in your village. Village is ill today, my good man. You seem awfully young for someone His Holiness spoke so highly of. And who are these others with you? Oh, then? The young lady is my sister. She is an acolyte of the Abbey, just as I am. Father Torren has decreed we are to undergo a pilgrimage across Rodan, doing the work of the Lord of Light. As for the other two under the wolf, they are here for our protection, should the need arise. A strange band of travellers, if e'er I saw one. But I suppose beggars cannot be choosers.
I assure you, my youth does not mean I am unskilled in the healing arts. Your sick will not remain ill for much longer under my care. Now, if you'd be so kind as to lead me to... Oi! Jackdaws! It's the jackdaws! They're coming this way!
Oh, bloody hell! Get everyone inside and bolt the doors shut!
What is...
No time to explain! You'd best take shelter too, and fast!
Odd? What could the matter be?
Ah!
Ku? Is something the matter? Altair! Look there! That rhymes. That was unintentional.
They've gone and shut themselves up in their houses. Couldn't be bothered to make things easy for us, could they? No matter. I've got my way of getting what I want from them. Damn it! Hardly a penny to be found. Ugh, these shit-smeared sheep must have something of value worth taking. You there! Yes, Rast? Search the other houses. Tear them apart plank by plank if you must. You see anything that might fetch a penny, then grab it. Take whatever isn't nailed down to the floorboards. Aye, boss man!
What is all that commotion over yonder? Can you see what's happening from here, Sir Victor?
It appears to be a pack of brigands. That should be it. It appears to be a pack of brigands, young master. Not a large one. I count 8 men at most.
8 men against 5 of us. We may well have a fighting chance against them, then. Altair, may I remind you that I have no training in combat magics? I am aware, sister. But you are handy with the healing staff, which means you need not fight directly. Zayan, Victor, and I will handle the lion's share of the fighting. If they have horses, then Ku can take those. He's fond of horse flesh. Besides, Victor is worth 10 of these louts any day.
It would be better to let the less experienced acquit themselves, if possible. You and Zayan still have much to learn, young master. And you will find yourselves ill-equipped for trouble in the future if you rely too much on me in the present.
We'll do what we can. Now, let us slay the lot of them. Slay them? Good heavens, no. Spilling blood needlessly would leave a bitter taste in my mouth. No, stop short of killing any of them, if you can help it. I would attempt to reason with them. Perhaps attempt to convince them to change their ways? Do you think they'll listen? There's no harm in making an attempt to reason with them. And now then, let us not waste any more time yammering. To battle! Alright, map time. So yeah, this is a route map. We've got 8 enemies to kill, including this guy, Rast, a relatively young-looking brigand leader. He's a brigand. Criminals who raise villages to the ground with their wicked axes. His personal skill is Desperation. If HP is below 50%, double attacks occur immediately. And Smite. Yeah. All of the classes have a class skill, and usually it's going to be some kind of movement skill like Shove, or Smite, or Reposition, something like that. What can we talk about? Let's start with the new units. Starting with the Doggo, Kuhulen! It's a fun name to say. Altair's faithful companion, half wolf and half hound. He's a wolf, a noble wolf whose presence frightens enemy mounts. So Kuhulen is kind of a hodgepodge between a thief and a cavalier. His main selling point is this, his fang. A wolf's sharp fang, it is lethal to cavalry. All of Kuhulen's attacks with his fangs have effective damage against cavalry. He doesn't have weapon ranks, obviously, because he uses fangs. He has 20 con. This is a design choice that was primarily made to work around issues with the Steel Plus command, because rogues have the ability to use the Steel Plus skill, and that could potentially cause problems if they're able to yoink Kuhulen's weapons. So I just gave him 20 con and had all of the monster weapons. I did that for all the monster weapons in this game, is that they all just have a weight of 20, and the monsters have 20 con so that they can still use them without any penalty. Anyways, these are his base stats. These are his growths: 50 magic, 50 strength, I keep getting that mixed up, 10 magic, 60% skill, 75 speed, 60 luck, 30 defense, 25 res, and 70 HP. His personal skill is loyalty when within 2 spaces of a lord, -3 damage taken, plus 15% hit, and he has his class skill
is the steal command, so he can swipe you extra items for your units. Next we have Mary, Altair's younger sister. Shy, but kind. She has feelings for Zayan. Comes with a heal staff and an antitoxin. Poison weapons are going to be a bit of a thing, especially in these early chapters. They're probably not going to stay a consistent thing into the late game, but poison is a little bit more dangerous than it was here. Anyways, Mary's a cleric, woman of the cloth who cannot fight but can heal wounds. She has a D rank in staves, and these are her base stats. These are her growths: 0 magic, 0 strength. I'm going to get that wrong every time, aren't I? 55 magic, 50 skill, 50 speed, 60 luck, 20 defense, 60 res, and 60 HP. And her personal skill is Live to Serve, and the cleric class skill is Miracle. Survival lethal attack if HP is above 50. It's mostly just there as like an insurance in case you end up putting them in an enemy's attack range and you don't mean to. Yeah, Mary is basically just early healer.exe. She's here to, just keep you topped up. Victor. Victor is the Jagan, a former knight of Anglica, polite to a fault but terrifying when angered. His class is Crusader, which is basically just a great knight with, in all but name, heavy cavalry that thunder into battle with sword, lance, and axe. Comes with Mithril Sword, aka Silver Sword. In the fictional universe I've created for these ROM hacks, silver is replaced with mithril, which is basically just silver that has been infused with magic to make it stronger. Comes with an iron lance and a hand axe. This hand axe is the second tier of throwing axe above the hatchet. That was the thing I did for all of my hacks, was I just made the hatchet be the hand axe and the hand axe be what would normally be the short axe, because I never liked the idea of the short axe being, the second tier. These are his base stats. These are his weapon ranks. You obviously can see that he starts with an A in swords, a D with lances, which is actually pretty bad, and C in axes. Here are his base stats. Here are his growths. He has 50% strength, got it right that time, 20 magic, 40 skill, 25 speed, 30 luck, 50 defense, 20 res, and 80 HP. His personal skill is Gentle Hum, which really only works on Mary on this map. Class skill for basically all cavalry and mounted units is Canter, aka Canto Plus. I don't know how the community feels about Canto Plus because, given that enemies can't make use of it, but honestly, it's just a really convenient skill that I like having, and honestly, I really think it's just how Fire Emblem should have handled Canto just in the first place. And he also comes with Savior. This is actually the level 10 skill for the Cavalier class. It basically can rescue without penalties. It's basically just a panic button. That's what a Jagan is here to do. Victor actually doesn't have that much speed, so how effective he is at being a delete button in the way that Jagans normally want to do is a little debatable, but he's otherwise pretty good. Okay, so starting out, so this bandit over here, actually, let's bring this up real quick. Bandit, a common criminal who robs and reaves from the common folk, and brigands, criminals who raze villages to the ground with their wicked axes. So this brigand right here will attempt to destroy this house, so we have to go and prevent that. We also have Myrmidons, because obviously Zayan is a lance fighter, so we can't have him going up against a bunch of axe-wielding enemies. Especially not with the changes I've made to Weapon Triangle, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So anyways, we have Myrmidons here. Students of the sword who specialize in swift and deadly strikes. We also have this one fighter over here. Axe-toting brawlers who rely on their strength and stamina to carry the day, carrying a venin axe, poisons on contact. I'll get into poison in a second. Then we have the Hunter class, aka the Nomad, light cavalry who strike with bow and arrow before retreating. So Hunters, they're kind of just here to be, bow cavalry. We won't get one until a little bit later, and it won't actually be in this particular demo. It'll be in a later time. But yeah, route map, pretty simple. There's 2 hidden houses to check out, and we also have to save this village. And then it's basically just clean up. So let's get started. But before we get into combat, I want to continue. This is a bit of a staple of my ROM hacks, is, you know, regular old conversations that happen on the map to give a little bits of flavor text and character building moments, in addition to support conversations. My typical way of writing supports is that I get... Actually, I'll talk about that later. We don't need to deal with that. Let's have Mary talk to Zayan.
Zayan, may I see your arm for a moment?
Certainly.
Oh, you've been cut! And it's not a small one either. Thankfully, it's not very deep.
Alright, haven't even gotten in a fight and he's already injured. Oh my, I didn't notice.
Hold still, and I'll heal it for you. Even a shallow wound can still fester and rot if left untreated.
Thank you, Mary.
I am surprised you didn't take notice of that cut sooner. You seem to have a high tolerance for pain.
Do you think so? I've never thought I was all that tolerant of it. The fucking text sound effect came back in the middle of that. That was so distracting.
Do you remember the time you and Altair trod on that wasp's nest? He screamed and cried from all those stings, but you were completely silent.
I did still wince at all those stings.
You did, but you didn't complain much. Of course, it could just be that you are simply oblivious to your surroundings.
Oblivious? Me?
Well, sometimes it feels as if you have your head in the clouds. Need I remind you of that incident with the snake?
I thought I'd already apologized for that whole mess. I only wanted to show it to you.
You should have realized that I can't stand serpents from how I screamed. But you kept chasing after me with it until I began crying.
Father Torin was furious with me about that whole ordeal. He thought I was deliberately trying to scare you with that snake. But I wasn't. I like snakes, and most of them are harmless anyway. I just wanted to show you something I liked.
I know, Zayan. I don't mean to hold that one incident against you forever. But you really can be quite dense sometimes. All I want is for you to be more attentive, especially during battles. I don't want for you to be cut up constantly and not realize when you might be in danger.
I'm sorry, Mary. I'll try to be more alert on the battlefield from now on.
That's all I needed to hear. Thank you, Zayan.
I am going to real quick go into the options menu and speed up the text. I forget to do that whenever I was playtesting this, because everything else just moves so fast with the various speed up features. Speaking of which, let's attack this guy. This particular battle background, I think, actually comes from one of the Advance War Game Boy Advance games. It's really cool looking, but you can see the tank treads on the actual graphics, so it does look a little anachronistic at times. It's not that bad. Alright, Altair, you have a conversation.
Zayan, how are you faring?
Well enough. And you?
Quite well, in spite of the circumstance.
You really don't intend to kill any of these brigands, do you?
Zayan, you of all people should know how much I loathe violence. Should I be presented with the choice, I will always choose not to take a life.
I understand. I just worry that it might be a mistake to leave these ones alive.
Would you prefer to stab first and ask questions later?
Not really. If a man comes at me with intent to kill me, then I will defend myself. But even then, killing another human would feel wrong to me, even if the act were justified. Though it's not as if I'm a stranger to taking lives. I killed plenty of deer and even bears when I was on my own. Animals kill each other all the time, be it for food or self-defense.
Animals are driven by instinct, but man always has the power to choose. And I choose to avoid taking lives, be they human or animal.
Come to think of it, I've never seen you eat meat before.
No, every time I tried to eat meat as a child, I became violently ill. Matters not if it is beef, pork, or the flesh of a dog. It all nauseates me. No, bread, cheese, and vegetables are sustenance enough for me.
do you begrudge me for eating meat and enjoying it? So long as another man's actions do you or no man else harm, there's no sense in judging him for it. That's what Father Torin always taught me. But in a sense, I am doing harm. To the animals, I mean. Quite the philosopher you've become, Zayan. You've grown tremendously in just 2 short years. I still remember when you could barely speak a sentence of common tongue. That does not answer my question. Zayan, in the short time I've known you, you have become my closest friend. It will take more than a few bites of mutton to change that. Oh. Well, I'm grateful for that, at least. Every man has a different way of looking at the world. We ought to treat that fact as a blessing, not a curse. But that is beside the point. We should continue this discussion another time. Right. Yeah. I really like the dynamic between Altair and Zayan. Zayan has kind of this, he's a bit more introverted, a bit more, I almost hate to say this, a bit more, like, obviously kind of autistic with, you know, his little hyperfixations and stuff. Whereas Altair is a bit more outgoing. So how do I want to approach this? If I put Cuchulainn here, he'll draw the Myrmidon, but he'll also draw one of these guys. It's usually whichever one has the... Oh, they don't have vending bows, right. I'm misremembering. Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn it! Keyboard! Sorry. That's always annoying. My keyboard, the arrow keys, just really want to lose their key coverings. It's already happened for the down arrow, which is actually not that big a deal, but, like, every time they start coming loose, it means I can't press the fucking key. That's really annoying. Anyways, hint houses. These are not super important, but I might as well get them just to show them off. Low-rank weapons aren't very powerful. They are, however, cheap, easy to use, and accurate. But there's another benefit to using them as well. Your proficiency with a weapon will grow faster while wielding a weapon of a lower rank. Keep that in mind if you want to get to wielding stronger weapons faster. So what that guy said there, iron weapons and their equivalents like the Ignis Tome, or the basic Light Tome, they give... Oh, Zayan gets a level up. HP, Strength, Skill, Luck. As I was saying, iron weapons. They give 3 weapon EXP per use, as opposed to vanilla, where they just give 1. Steel weapons give 2 weapon EXP per use, and everything else, except for Reaver weapons and the lowest rank throwing weapons like javelins, give 1 weapon EXP per use. Alright. So, we've drawn this guy over. How do I want to do this? Altair, how do you do against... Not so great hit rate, but you do still do... Okay, I can... Okay. Here's what we'll do. We will hit the one that has the better hit rate. And Zayan, you can kill this one. The weapon triangle bonuses are slightly different from vanilla. I will talk about that later because the lower right house will go a little bit more into that once we get it. Cuchulainn, you go down here and you steal this vulnerary. Not for any real reason, but it will get you a little bit of extra money in the next chapter, potentially. And Victor, you can just sit here and draw the bandit over so that he doesn't attack the... Oh, for fuck's sake, Cuchulainn. That's actually really annoying, getting hit by that poison axe. It could potentially lead to bad things in a minute. We just need to see what this guy does. 5 damage. Nope. Okay. Never mind. He dodged. Danger averted. And this guy does no damage. Alright. Yeah. So poison does a minimum of 3 damage. Sometimes it will do 4. On very rare occasions, it will do 5, and that's always a fun time. I know that Armory is most likely going to be watching this, and he really does not like poison as a status effect, so that may or may not, this may or may not cause him to have a slight bit of PTSD. I remember back when I was doing like the first build of Darius the Conqueror, I had poison doing 5 damage a turn, which was too much, especially considering that it was possible for the different things to have variations on the damage it did. Zayan, you go here and use your oak bow. Zayan does start with an E rank in bows, so having him use the oak bow to build his rank up quickly will be nice and beneficial. Mary, you cannot reach Cuchulainn, but that's fine, because so long as neither of these guys are still alive, it won't matter. So, Victor, go ahead and bop this guy. And Mary, go and heal. We'll probably get support conversation with one of these two next turn. Which will be interesting because they can't, because none of the support conversations have been written at time of recording. Cuchulainn, you don't double, but you do just enough damage to kill this guy. Hoorah and hooray. Alright. So, Rast will not move until you get in his range, so we're free to sit here and rock out to the music. Most of the songs in this hack, I should say, the big thing that I'm known for with my ROM hacks is custom music. Most of the songs that will feature in this ROM hack are going to be taken from the original Black Dragons soundtrack, mostly because of a combination of thematic whatchamacallit consistency. I am it is almost 10 o'clock at night, so forgive me for my brain being a little out to lunch. Mary, heal the wolf up. But yeah, most of the songs are going to just be from Black Dragon soundtrack. The main player phase theme for these early maps, called Wildheart, is actually one of the few songs that is completely new to this project. Honestly, I got a little lazy when doing the soundtrack, but hey, I mean, it's a prequel to Black Dragon, it's appropriate for it to use Black Dragon's soundtrack. Anyways, visit this house. The sword is quick, but lacks the range to combat the lance. The lance has reach, but it is too rigid to defend against the brute force of the axe. And the axe has power, but has not the speed to catch the agile sword. And around the weapon triangle goes. There's a saying around these parts that goes something like this: 2 and 20 if you have advantage, 2 and 20 less if you have none. No one's quite sure about the meaning behind the aphorism, but if I had to wager a guess, I'd say it refers to the damage and accuracy bonuses of the weapon triangle. Of course, there do exist certain weapons that flip the triangle around on its head. This lance, for instance. It's not so great against swords, but it will put you at an advantage against an axe. Try it for yourself when you have the opportunity, and see the results for yourself. That's a little redundant, I may need to fix that. Unsure if any dialogue changes I do will go live after this recording session, but who knows. Anyways, we get an Axe Reaver, reverses weapon triangle. Unfortunately, it's C rank, so no one actually can use it. I was intending for this to be used by Zayan to combat some of the bandits, but he's going to take a few levels until he can actually use it. Anyways, alright. Rast here has a special battle conversation with Zayan. Or not Zayan, with Altair. So we're going to stick him in range and hopefully not explode, because Altair's defense is not the best. Please stick the fucking key back in. I do not wish to lose another keycap. God damn you. That's annoying. Zan has... I can forgo the supports. They're not actually a thing. Zan, go and visit this hint house. You look like someone who has great potential. I was a sergeant in the Mercian army once. I developed an eye for spotting a man's potential, see? Not a terribly difficult skill to learn, if you ask me. Anyone can do it, really. All you need is a selective eye, and you can tell at a glance how a man's strengths and weaknesses will affect how he grows. You ought to try it sometime when you're looking over one of your units. Basically just saying that you can check a unit's growths with the select button while you're on the unit viewer screen thingy-majiggy. You probably know that already because it's a pretty common feature in a lot of hacks, but I mean, it's everyone's first time for something.
What, are you approaching me? Keep your distance, you, unless you want to die.
I can see it in your eyes and hear it in your voice. You don't really want to hurt anyone, do you? There is still time to put aside your axe, my friend. Do so, and I will see that you are pardoned for...
I haven't got a choice. If I surrender, the villagers will have me hanged. I'll not let you trick me into a noose.
You're wrong. There is always a choice. But it's clear words alone will not convince you. Therefore, I must beg your forgiveness for this. I promise this will only sting a little. That will sting you a lot. I did not realize that would do so much damage. Ugh. But hey, D rank already. It is the power of low rank weapons. It's Altair getting to D rank anima that fast. If you're curious, the Smite Tome and the Partisan give 2 weapon EXP per use. So not quite as good, but Kuhulan can kill, and alright, you know what? I am going to have Altair back up a little bit. Mary, you can heal him. The speed up feature is very handy when you're going through staff animations. And we can get our first support! Erica, are you alright? The supports have not been written yet. So, we're not going to engage with that right away. Kuhulan... You know what? Ku, go ahead and take us away.
Oi, stay back, you! This axe ain't for show. I'll gut you, I swear it!
So you say. But, unfortunately for you, Kuhulan says otherwise.
No. Is this how it ends for me?
Not quite. Let's see how things progress. HP, strength, skill, luck. No speed, ironically. That's interesting. Kuhulan's all about speed.
No, I was so close! Ugh. Finish me off already, you bastards!
Peace, my good man. We're not going to kill you. We never had any intention of this ending with your death.
He's right, Rast. They beat us black and blue, but they didn't kill a single one of us.
Really? Why would you spare us? Because I am a servant of the Lord of Light, my good man. And the first decree of the Lord of Light is thou shalt not kill. There is no need to stain my hands with your blood, and so I shall not.
But we tried to kill you. Had we gotten our way, you'd be lying dead in the snow.
It's plain to see how gaunt you and your men are, how ragged your garb. Someone once told me that all crime is born out of need, real or perceived. It is my guess that such need was what turned you to brigandry, yes?
Aye. All of us jackdaws were born poor as dirt. If we hadn't turned to thievery, we may well have starved this winter.
I thought as much. Tell me, my good man, do you honestly feel you have no choice but to burgle honest men?
If I felt I had a choice, I wouldn't be here now, would I?
Then allow me to make you a proposition. You see the house you tore apart in your search for valuables? Let's say you and your men do some honest work for once, and rebuild it, stick by stone. In return, I will speak to the village elderman, ask him to pardon your crimes, and I will even tell him to allow you a seat at our table at the inn tonight, and a share of our supper. Do those terms sound acceptable?
You sure the elderman would have us? These villager Toms ain't so quick to forgive, usually.
He will understand, so long as I explain the matter to him.
Very well, we'll accept your offer, Lightsworn. But only so long as the elderman makes good on these promises.
Rest assured, he will. I must say I am impressed, Brother Altair. Attempting to reason with those jackdaws was a risk, one I'd never have thought to take. But it paid off. They proved quite useful in rebuilding that house.
They're surprisingly good-natured once they got some food in their bellies. Most men are, I find.
Poor as we are, we could stand to have some carpenters around the village. I think we may be able to train them. If they prove their worth, we'll provide them a place to stay.
Splendid idea. We intend to stay in town for another few days, so we can ensure they remain true to their word.
We cannot thank you enough for all you've done for us today, Altair. Here, please accept this.
My Lord Elderman, I cannot possibly accept.
You can and you will, I insist. It would sit ill with me to not gift you with something for your efforts. Do not forget, defending our town from brigands was not what we asked of you.
You have me there. Very well, I shall accept this gold with the utmost gratitude. 5,000 gold. All's well that ends well. Gold is nice, but there is no greater reward than the knowledge that we have made better the lives of others. Gold will prove helpful to us somewhere down the road. Though there is quite a lot here, more than I would have expected. Entirely too much to take from such a small community, if you ask me. But Zayan is right, we will need what gold we can in the future.
All fell pat today marvellously, though I must say I do hope you do not make a habit out of trying to reason with brigands, young Master Altair. I doubt it will work out quite as well as it did this time in the future.
You worry too much, Sir Victor. Nor do you give your fellow man the credit he deserves. People are better than you think them. Ever the optimist, brother. Sometimes I worry that it will get you into trouble one day.
Brother Altair?
Oh, Rast, what do you need?
I spoke to the Elderman, and he said he'd give my boys lodging. Even said they'd be learning a trade in carpentry come tomorrow. I think they'll be well enough that they don't need me looking after them. So if you don't mind, mightn't it be that I could join you on your travels?
Now this is a surprise. What brought about this change of heart?
I've done much that I ain't proud of, in my time as a bandit. But the Lord of Light saw fit to grant me a chance to atone for my wrongs. I'd like to repay him by keeping safe one of his servants.
Quite a noble sentiment. I would be happy to have you as part of our little band, Goodman Rast. What say you, Zayan?
He seems sincere enough to me. Mary?
Zayan is normally slow to trust others. If he trusts you, then I will as well. Then we are all in agreement. Splendid. Welcome to our little family, Goodman Rast. Our travels have only just begun.
I know not what to say, Altair. I may never be able to repay you for all you've done for me today.
Nonsense. Come, let us dine and be merry. There's no better way to relax from a day's work than with a good meal eaten round a roaring hearth. To our merry band! To our merry band!
To our merry band!
To our merry band! And that is the end of Chapter 1, and the end of this video. This is a bit of a new thing for me, so I hope that you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed all of the me sucking down water noises that occurred every so often. I'm probably going to try and edit a couple of visual gags in here across these Let's Plays every so often when I can. But yeah, that's the first video. If you want to play this hack, the demo, a link to the demo patch for the demo is in the description in the Google Drive, as well as a bunch of other documents that have stuff like a little guide that has a few tips and tricks on it, stuff like that. But yeah, that was the first 2 chapters of Black Dragon Beginnings. And I will see you the next time for Chapter 2, and we'll see where we go from there. Alright, see you next time.